Okay, it's recording. So, hello. Um,
Do we have to like mention our names? I'm just Senia Travieso.
I'm Carolina Acamba,
I'm Lucia Zapata.
I'm Luis Olguin.
and we are the Immigrant Families and its Effect on Family Literacy group.
Perfect.
And so, I don't know if you guys want me to share the screen and just upload the questions so that we just have them in front of us.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Let me get- So, here are the questions. Okay. Now we are on section 1. First question is, what have you learned about your literacy issue?
So what I've it's like based out of personal experience as well. Like the issues that immigrant families have with literacy, it's just that they don't speak the same language, or they don't speak the language that their children are learning, and the type of information that they receive from schools, that's they don't understand.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what you guys have
Yeah,
read.
I got here also the language barrier, and because of that, there's less engagement at home because of the homework. Basically, they don't read to them. They kind of can't help them if it's something like universal, like math, but they have to read their homework, science, just reading and writing in general. They're not as engaging as they would be.
Yeah, it's very limited. And even with math, even though, yeah, like the numbers are the same everywhere, it's very different because the material that probably their parents learned in their country, it's not going to be the same material that their children are learning now. So they're going to need that language to for them to, have an explanation of what to do, how to do it.
Right.
Exactly. I put that people that are immigrants, they become immigrants when they move to another country, like moving to the US. And when they move, they have to learn new things, like learning a new language. And for instance, English. The majority of schools in the US, they use English in all of their subjects. So that's what the children use at school to do all of their assignments. But what about at home? How do they do their homework? How can mom and dad help at home if the homework is in another language? And also, do they have technology skills? Because now everything is based on technology, basically everything. And especially because of this year with COVID, all of these parents may not have the 100% of understanding for how to help their children with the computer and with all of their activities.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, definitely the language barrier is something that's like one of the major issues like when it comes to it. And a lot of like the parents also feel like, I guess, like embarrassed, I guess, because they don't really know how to like talk to maybe like the teacher or like people who work at the school. Like they might not know exactly how to communicate with them. And then so it's like, how can they ask for help, even like for their child too, who's like trying to learn all these new things where they probably don't know too much of it. And like the language definitely like is a major like problem. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that they're very limited with the resources, and I think sometimes when you are an immigrant, I mean, I know here in Miami, there's a lot of immigrants that are illegal. So I think that they also have that fear of, if I ask for help or if I try to look for resources, what if the whole being here illegally, like it's gonna get me in trouble, or so they're very, they don't have, how do you say, initiative into going and looking for help.
Right.
Yeah, I
That's a really good
completely
point.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really good point.
Which goes into the issues that you have in with the second question, the issues that affect the family literacy.
Hmm. Exactly. And so, for question two, how does your literacy issue affect family literacy? It's also what Lucia was saying with the lack of initiative because they may be illegal and so they don't want to put their names on any legal documents because of fear of being deported or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
also I think it's cultural because I was reading a study on Asian and Hispanic immigrant parents, and it was basically saying that immigrant parents were less likely to read to their children. And why? Because they work longer hours and perhaps they work more than one job, which leaves less time for book sharing and for activities that they can do with their kids. And also, immigrant parents that came from rural areas in their countries, they grew up with parents that didn't read to them. So, reading is important in our culture, but it may not be as important or as a priority in other cultures.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, I had also read that. I also read that immigrant parents are less likely to like read with their children. I also think it's definitely also because of the language. Also, I feel like in our schools, we we implement more, like we don't really implement for like the immigrant families or anything. Like we mainly teach with the standards, and like we have to follow those guidelines. And so it makes it like especially difficult for the families like who are immigrants and stuff, just because they come from somewhere completely different, whereas now they have to learn something even more different than what they're used to.
Yeah, and it's not. I read somewhere that they're explaining that it's not like they don't find the children's education like a priority. It's just that they feel like they need to um provide like other necessities before education. So they feel like they feel like teachers will get everything done.
Yeah, that the
Yeah.
learning comes from school and then at home.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually put that for another question. That was like one of my answers for another question. I don't even remember which one. Okay. Louis, did you want to add anything to this question
We're still in the first one for the
on the second one?
the second one. For that one, I sort of had due to the impact of the language barrier. If they have a younger kid, basically that will be more affected towards their literacy level, since that kid is growing up learning in a different language rather than the language that's being spoken at home. So because of that, there's even less engagement. Maybe they have a conversation with a kid, but that will be it. There's almost no help from the school material. There's almost nothing, which you guys kind of mentioned. The parents are thinking the kid is learning everything from school, so then there's less of that engagement. But yeah, that was kind of what I had here.
Oh, yeah. I guess we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I would like to add something. The thing about what Lewis was saying, I also read that it's not that they don't, like, how do I say, because they could read a book in Spanish,
Right.
but they don't have that time since they're immigrants and they're trying to get their lives together. They're trying to, live that American dream. They don't have the time. Some parents work 2 3 jobs. They work 15 hours, or like 12 to like 15 hours a day, that they don't have that time to come home and read a book, even if it's in Spanish, because literacy is in whatever language.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't have, they spend more time providing economically than providing educationally, because they, like, children also need that PACT time, that parent and children time together.
Yeah.
And without it, the learning is only seen as, it should only be in the classroom, but it's a thing that you do every day. In everything that you do, learning should also be at home too. Okay. So if we are all good, we can go move on to the third question, which is, who are the stakeholders pertaining to your family literacy issue, and describe their different perspectives.
I put the parents. I feel like they will be the ones that are more, that get more affected by this because the kid is getting actually the education so they can learn the second language. Their parents are working. Maybe they get social groups within their same um, type of culture related people that speak the type of language or something. And then rather than of learning the second language, and let's say English in this case, they don't. They have a social group. They maintain their social group, and they stick to their roots basically. So they are providing for their family, but they're not growing in a way that could basically help them know more about the school system, things like that. So what like that.
Yeah, I think the parents are definitely the really important stakeholders here. They're the children, the siblings as well, just the family overall, and also the teachers. And I think that more often than not, the families of the children want the child to be successful in school, but they don't necessarily know how to help. They just, many people say that, oh, we learn at school, but what happens at home? They just think that it kind of just becomes paused, and that what they do at school is only done at school. But they can also offer skills, literacy and life skills, and they can show their kids at home.
Yeah, I also wrote that I wrote that the parents, the teachers, and the students are the stakeholders. Just I didn't know exactly how to write like their different perspectives, but like I mentioned that those three were like the ones that really I don't know exactly what to say. I'm sorry.
I agree with you guys. Like I said before we even started recording, the stakeholders can be the whole family and the teachers, like you said. Um, Especially the parents. I feel like the perspective is they want to try to help, but they don't know how. So they don't know how to look for help. And then the students or the children's perspective is, who do I seek for help? If, like, like, I have my parents and they're the ones that are supposed to come and help me with my homework when I get home. But if they don't know how to, and what do I do? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also another issue that affects the family literacy then. Well, it affects their acad like academic, educational perspective. But yeah, I think we have said enough for question 3. And we should move on to question 4. What are the family literacy programs currently in place as it pertains to our topic? So, one of the programs that I saw, I didn't see a lot of programs. One of them was called Even Start, and it's a federally funded program, and it gives the family access to a whole bunch of things like training and support for creating a literate home environment, and it just helps for the children to academically succeed. And their goals are to help children to reach their full potential as learners, to provide literacy training for parents, and to help parents become full partners in education of their children. So it's kind of like really three really good important goals, and it also targets the PACT, the parent and child together time, which is important for an effective education.
I also found that one. Uh, Also, just adding on, it helps parents that didn't reach a high school level education. It provides them help with that too. Can help them get a GED. And I found another one called Project EASE, EASE. And basically, it's kind of like Even Start, or they have education sessions. They have more activities to do for the parents and the child at school, and also provide them book center activities at home. This is just to improve their whole vocabulary, story comprehension, and that's what. Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys mentioned this one, but the lead um program, which is it's here in Miami. It's the I think I don't know, the Project Literacy for Every Adult in Dade, which is it helps not only immigrants but also parents that didn't finish their full like high school education with their GD, and just learning how tutors and learning how to read. And I also there's I forgot the name, but it's a government program that helps immigrant parents with the basic skills of just English, so they can help their children more with the homework or whatever it is, or and better their language. And then I saw another one um called the uh Adult Education and Family Literacy. Oh, it's an act, sorry. It's an act where it's basically the same thing. It focuses on family literacy, and it's also government funded.
I wrote I did the even start, right? That's what it was called. The even start. I also wrote about PAT, which is parents as teachers, which that improves school readiness for the children, and it helps them develop in a healthy way. And basically um it helps like guide like the parents on how to like help the child develop at home, and increases their confidence as their child's first teacher, meaning as their child's first teacher. I also wrote about Hippie, which is a 2-year home-based and early intervention program, and it helps prepare children for school. I also saw one which I didn't know if I should mention it or not, but it is located in New York. So I don't know if we also have it in Florida or something similar. But they have like Center for Immigrant Education and Training, and it's basically that they offer free ESOL programs for the parents, and it helps teach them English, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Oh, I'm glad that we were able to find a whole bunch of programs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, since we have only about like 5 more minutes left, let's talk about these last 3 questions then for section 2. So, how do these programs meet the needs of the stakeholders?
I mean, I think like they all have like their own different like perk, but I think overall they all help the parent and the child in like different areas of like development. That's basically like the shortest answer I could give you.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it meets the need because it's something that they like it's important for them to have. So if they look for those resources, they can obtain the help. And just to to answer the other question, how it doesn't meet the need. Um, I feel like some of the programs require so much time from the parents, which are the main stakeholders, that even though they have the resources to get the help, it's like, when will they be able to, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
since they're working and providing.
Yeah. I think the programs, like some of the programs, they aim for different things, but I think like as a whole, they they meet the needs of the individuals and not as a collective, as a family unit. And to meet those needs, I think they should prioritize how to kind of like interact the family, the parents and the children together so that they can kind of like learn together as a family. And so to answer
That's good. I didn't think about it that way.
yeah, I was thinking that
That's
today.
awesome.
It's kind of like they target different individual things, but then together it should be family literacy, but it's kind of like parent literacy and then child literacy,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
as a whole. And then to answer the third question, what are some needs in that we would be addressing in our ideal family literacy program? I think the PACT time together, the parent and child time together, learning as a family unit, kind of like it can be book sharing, it can be interactive games. I think there should be a library of books and of different resources that the program can offer to these families. And also, these games, these books, these toys should come in bilingual, or I don't know how much lingual, um, how many languages the child and the family know. So if it's books, it would be, for instance, in English and in the immigrants' families' language. So it's kind of like to help them all kind of like accumulate, use other language to kind of reflect on what they know and to learn more.
Yeah, I agree with you. The program should be more family based, like you said. Now that you said that, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're done, right? Do we
And
even have time?
yeah, we we have like 2 more minutes, I think. Does anyone else have anything to add? No? Yes?
No, I think we're good.
I think we're good. Okay. Awesome. Stop sharing and we gotta stop recording.